So, a little over a year ago, I was on a retreat at St. Felix in Huntington, and this was one of the first times that I had tried going to adoration and just sitting on the ground. So, I was up on the floor on the right side of the church, towards the front, and I was praying, and so often I find myself closing my eyes and bowing to pray. And in this moment, I heard a voice, and it said, "Why don't you look at me? Look up and look at me." And that was one of the first times that I really looked up at the monstrance and looked up and saw Jesus. And as I was doing that, I ended up looking past to the altar that the tabernacle was on, and there was a beautiful carving of the Last Supper. And I had to do a double take because I thought I saw myself there. And at first I was like, oh, that has to be Mary Magdalene since it's like looking more feminine. And then I realized, no, that was John. That was John next to Jesus, leaning on Jesus. And his hair color looked like mine. The robes that he was wearing was the same color as my wall in my bedroom. And I realized that I had a flashback to all those pictures that I would take as a kid, and every single photographer is like, no, tilt your head less. And I realized that my comfort has always been leaning my head. And in prayer, and when I'm singing at church or just singing praise and worship songs, I always find that I lean my head, which as a singer, I know that that's not the healthiest thing to do physical alignment wise, but that's where I've found comfort. And that's when I realized I want to be like John. I want to lean on Christ. And fast forward to a little less than a year later, I went to World Youth Day in Lisbon, Portugal, and we were doing catechesis sessions in the same church for 3 days. And I would go, before the session, I would go into the side chapel where the tabernacle was, and I would pray there. And it took till the third day for me to look above the tabernacle, because I had been to so many churches that were all beautiful and had so many paintings and statues that I just never looked up to see the painting above the tabernacle. And it was a beautiful, zoomed in picture of the Last Supper. So it was simply just Jesus holding the host, and then John leaning on him. And that was all that was in the picture. It was just Jesus and John. And during that time, I had been praying a lot, and I'm still praying what is the dangerous prayer, which is, Lord, help me to know your will and to do it no matter what. And during that time when I was looking up at that picture, there were musicians that were singing some praise songs, but at this point they were just playing chords. And I started to hear a melody come into my head that I've never heard before. And then I started to think of lyrics all revolving around John and revolving around what I wanted in my prayer life and what I was seeking. And that is what this song is. It's called Like John, and it revolves around some of the most important things in my life. Of I want to physically lean on Christ like John did at the Last Supper, I want to have more respect for the Eucharist in general. In terms of the Last Supper, I want to be able to stand firm with Christ in his trials, as John was one that walked with him to the cross. And I want to be able to take Mary as my mother more and have her as an intercessor and pray more, especially the Rosary. So this song is called Like John.
As I'm down here on my knees, trying so hard to believe that your love was made for me and mine for you. Then I lift my eyes to see the image right in front of me. It's when you gave the bread of life anew. Make me like John, make me like John. Help me to lean on you. Make me like John, your beloved one. Help me receive. I long to be beloved too, like the disciple there with you, to be one to partake in that meal. I long to walk with you and say, Lord, I'll never go away. I'll be with you as you die for us to heal. Make me like John, make me like John. Help me to lean on you. Make me like John, your beloved one. Help me receive. I see you turn and speak to me as you hang there on that tree, and you give to me your mother as mine now.